Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of West Ham Fan TV's post-match rally focus on football show on the internet. We obviously watched the Brentford 3-0 loss for West Ham, and just watched. If you joined me on Lawless Live, I just done a hate along for the Aston Villa 1, Tottenham 2. Mate, I'm sorry, that's corruption. I've just watched that game. I don't care what Villa are doing on Thursday. I have never seen a performance that bad at home. Look, I'm sick, and I've put myself through that. Villa did not even try to win that game. Did not eat the players. I've never seen a performance that bad. But at the same time, we should never have been in a position to allow another team to fucking cheat us out of our position. And that's what we've done. We've got to look at ourselves first.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. I mean, look, I'll be honest with you. My disclaimer down. I didn't see the game. Didn't see the game. Seen the result. Feel sick. Do you know what I mean? Feel sick. But yeah, so you're gonna have to fill me and Scott in with regards to that.
Villa had
But at the end of
one
the day,
shot on target, and it was the goal right before the full. It's like, all right, we've got no chance getting an equaliser. Let's just get a goal, make it look good, mate. If you watch that game, I've just never seen a performance that I've seen us get slapped 6-0, mate. I've seen us get destroyed in games. We've not looked as bad as what Villa looked like tonight. Shout out to Gary for the £5 super chat. Disaster weekend, effectively 2 points behind them, yeah, because of the goal difference. Even if we get 4 points from our last 3 games, optimistic it won't be good enough now. Gutted. It's hard. We're going to be feeling it now. Do you know what? We can talk about that Villa game, whatever. Let's just start with West Ham. Like a lot of people, we did an instant match reaction. Me and Ryan. Ryan said if Spurs win today, we're down. Look, it's not over, but we were robbed at times with decisions yesterday. But I still can't get over how we came out in that second half, guys. It was pathetic how we came out in the second half.
No, look, Dan. I totally agree. You know, like you said, it's one of those games where if you look at it on the surface of it, you see the score line without knowing any context, you think that's a big beatdown. But the fact of the matter is that the first half, I think we were the better team. We started really sloppy. Brentford probably deserved to get the goal, but I think after they scored the goal, we were by far the better team, created the better chances. The woodwork and post became one of those things, and a couple of dodgy referee decisions. Let's get that right. But going to the second half, as you say, I think once they got the second goal, the game was done from there. I think the game was done for me there. And I think after that, it became a situation where Nuno had to roll the dice. And this is where there's fine lines of rolling the dice. We saw yesterday what rolling the dice could do in terms of going through it, changing the system in order to get an extra man, etc., which just left spaces. But in addition to that, the players were frustrated. You could see you got Tatty and Somerville just getting yellow cards based out of frustration. And I guess some of our top players yesterday, they didn't really show up yesterday. I don't feel they really showed up yesterday. And yeah, again, I said, you know, when we did P&P a few weeks ago, I mentioned about the Palace game. You know, we will only know towards the end of the season if that was a good point or we threw it away. And I'm kind of looking at that game and this game. Anything in the past, anything where, you know, people go back to January and talk about losing that double header to Forest and all that. We were a mess back then. Yeah, like we've had many of opportunities since to kind of, you know, get a 5-point stretch over Tottenham. We've had 2 opportunities to do that, and we haven't taken it. So it's on us. But I do feel with 9 points to play still, you know, anything could happen. Anything could happen. This always happens at the end of the season when you look at the relegation battle. There are always some bizarre results that happened. And for me, this was one of them in terms of Aston Villa. If you look at Spurs' fixtures from today onwards, this was their toughest game, arguably. It's the one you look at and you would say, I can't see them winning this. Maybe after our result yesterday, it might get a draw, but I couldn't see them winning. So, yeah, this one really hurts. It really does.
Yeah, but this is the thing, the refereeing decisions yesterday were really, really questionable. I think that's the main point of what we've got to look at. Look, we can all sit there and question Nuno. I've questioned Nuno since we signed him. Since we brought him in, I've questioned him. I've stayed quiet for a while because results have turned around. Coincidentally, since he brought the new guy in his backroom staff and Paquetá went out the door, things have turned around. But there's still been questionable decisions that he's made. He made questionable decisions yesterday. And as we said with Palace, we didn't really go for the game. And like you said last week, Brian, we won't know until the end of the season whether it was a good point or a bad point. But then if you can't really talk about corruption, we're in the position we're in because of how bad we've been.
No, that's what I said. We can look at ourselves.
Yeah. Yesterday,
I think Villa should be embarrassed.
Yeah, of course. Villa should be embarrassed. It's absolutely pathetic performance by a team that's pushing for Champions League football.
Because the thing is, people will say that, do you know what? They've got Europe on Thursday. And I said this on my stream, forfeit the fucking game then. Because thousands and thousands of Aston Villa fans have left their app. They've paid their hard-earned money to see their team lose on purpose, because that's what it looked like. Because when you look at that game, they no shot on target until the 95th minute. I'm sorry, but unfortunately, they should refund all the fans.
Yeah, we can't control what Villa decided to do.
But we can control. But this is the thing, mate. 22 points dropped from winning fucking positions.
Yep,
we can criticize Nuno. Yeah, because Paco's come in, right, and we have gotten better. But Nuno needs to fucking hold a lot of account. Not just Nuno, because we have the buck stops at Sullivan. Of course, every time Sullivan, and the decision to bring in Potter is a big reason why we're here. But Nuno has made so many unforced errors. The Brentford and Leeds games with them ridiculous lineups. The Bournemouth game. Like time after time where he's tried to snatch defeat at the jaws of victory because he hasn't got any bollocks. And look, whether he stays or not, his job needs to be dependent on if Paco stays. There's rumours Paco might leave if we go down. If Paco leaves, Nuno fucking leaves. Get out of here, mate. I do not want Nuno without Paco.
No, mate, and I'm with you. And this is what I'm saying. Right? When you look at corruption, you look at the game yesterday, right? How the first goal actually stood, and that isn't a lot like Everton. Had Pickford stayed on the pitch after that thing, it was exactly the same again. The guy didn't touch the ball. It's a Mav home goal. Right, so the guys took Mav studs up on the ankle, and the goal's still been given, and the guy's still walking around on the pitch. Right, that's what I'm saying. You want to look at corruption? Let's look at yesterday. Yeah, forget about today because there's no way Villa have been paid off or anything like that to lose to Tottenham. That's tinfoil hat conspiracy theory. Mate,
whether they're just pathetic excuses for human beings.
Let's look at our game, right? And the decision that went against us. The fact that, they said Pablo fell over the player, but he's still, at the end of the day, we've seen him give him. The fact that Souček's wrestled to the floor, right? Let's rewind, and there was a time Mavropanos pulled someone down exactly the same way in the box, and it was a penalty. So we're talking about decisions that you could sit there and argue that maybe some people are conspiring against us. They're the decisions you've got to look at. What happened in our game? It's absolutely disgusting. 2 games on the spin, a player should have been sent off for a late challenge. I'm not going to say a studs up tackle or a malicious tackle. A late challenge on our player that's caught our players on the ankle with their studs, and they've both stayed on the pitch. Yeah, this is what comes for me.
Yeah, you're right, Scott. I mean, you can even add the goal as well. I mean, the disallowed goal of Mavropanos, because they're saying, in terms of where it hit the offside and the arm and stuff. But they're saying it's, what is it again? Parts of your body that you can score with or whatever. But I don't know. It's all the fact of the matter is what 3 to 4 decisions in that game yesterday that are all questionable. Very, very questionable. And would have had a detrimental. I don't know, Dan. I mean, this is the thing. No, but the thing is, though, Dan, I wouldn't say that there was no effort and commitment shown. I would say that the factors of the game got the better of some of the players. So once we went 2-0, heads were gone, everything was gone. And that kind of contributed
But why?
to the
Because
end
there was
result.
still so much time to play, Brian. Like, this is the thing. We were 2-0 down and they were in the ascendancy. Like, why? Why was we not putting that pressure on? Like, we've got everything to fight for. You're giving up at 2-0. It's not exciting. Look, the youth has killed us there. Like, he's absolutely killed us, right? He needs to take a good look in the mirror because that was a joke from him. But regardless, 2-0 is not an impossible scoreline. You get that one. Just get the one. We should have been pressing high up the pitch, putting the pressure on. Like, and I have to say, Pablo, guys, he's not a good footballer. He does good stuff off the ball. That we look at that penalty he should have got. Look at his touch. Look at his touch before that, and that's probably a reason. Could be a reason why they didn't give it, because the ball went completely away from him. Even though I think it should still been a penalty, in my opinion, he's not done himself any favors. That horrific touch. We've spent over 20 million on the geezer. He's a horrific footballer. Like, I can't believe it.
No, that's what I said, mate. The problem is it's because of his work rate. That's why he gets in the side. This is the problem. But as we said the other week with Wilson, Wilson doesn't have that work rate, but Wilson has the clinical finishing, and this is the issue of, for me, you know, Nuno's brought in Tati and Pablo to set out a way to play, right? But he hasn't then took into account that the best striker we've got at the football club is Callum Wilson. So what we should ideally be doing is trying to build a team around Wilson. He was too busy trying to get Wilson out of the club than he was trying to think of, hold on a minute, this guy knows where the back of the net is. This guy knows how to score goals. We've got to do and pick a system that works for him. And this is where we've fallen flat, because Tati will work his nuts off. He does everything. He's not a clinical goal scorer. You saw that last night. He was unlucky. He was unlucky with the header. You know, don't get me wrong, but should have done better with the one that he put on the post. And we've seen it time and time again. Pablo exactly the same when he's had opportunities. You know, the chances that he's missed for a striker that was banging in goals in the Portuguese league, and as I said, completely different standard of football. Much easier to score goals out there than it is to score goals in the Premier League, right? And he ain't had a lot of time to adjust. But for someone who's been scoring goals, he should be able to finish that one, and he didn't.
Wilson should have started. I said it before the game.
Nah, man, not for me.
Pablo, because he got that winner, right? Yeah, he got the winner against Everton, which was a big goal. The guy is chomping at the bit to get game time, to get goals, right? He wants to get this record. Like, it, at the very least, he should have come on at half-time. The fact that Pablo played over 90 minutes, you can say, yeah, Tati got the yellow card, so Pablo should have been off way before that fucking yellow card. He should have been off way before that. How has Pablo been on that long when he was woeful? How has Nuno looked at him and gone, yeah, you know what? Like, if it's because of his off-the-ball work, right, he's pressing and he's tackling, put him in midfield. Put him as a DM, because everything that he does well, you might as well have him as like Ward-Prowse was doing that. Remember when Ward-Prowse? Remember Spotter's Way when Ward-Prowse was pressing and winning the ball back high up the pitch and stuff, because he's supposed to be a forward. For
me, the last few games, right, the last 3 games, so to speak, for me, we've sunk into our shell a bit. You know, we the games leading up to that, when we were on this good bit of form, we were at them. Even Everton, I don't think we were at Everton all the time. Do you know what I mean? As we have been with other teams, we've seemed to have sort of dropped off a little. And the crazy thing is, right, I can't believe I'm saying this after I slated the man so much, and I can't stand him as a footballer. But Traoré, you know, I know he come on yesterday, right? But we should have seen him against Palace. We should have seen him. And then it gives you different options. You know, for me, it's Nuno's.
He looked lively yesterday.
That's what I'm saying. He looks lively and he causes problems. And look, we know my feelings on the guy, but we haven't used him right. Again, Nuno's not using the squad correctly.
Nuno was desperate for the guy.
Yeah,
that's
what I don't get.
Nuno was so desperate. 2 clubs, like, he wanted him at Forest and he lost his job over it, and he wanted him at West Ham. You don't play him.
I know.
Yeah, no, that is facts. I mean, look, we've been in a situation all season where the squad, despite the transfer activities in January, the squad is not good enough, and Nuno clearly doesn't trust his Plan B players for certain situations and certain games, because the Plan B players, some of them don't have the tactical nous to make an input that's going to keep the team secure and get some kind of output. And this is why I definitely wouldn't have started Wilson. Even if I would play that game again, I wouldn't start Wilson, because you got nowhere to go after. If you start with Wilson and he don't start well, or he doesn't impact the game, and you're bringing on Pablo, it's like, do you know what I mean? He's better off as a utility player who's going to come on and be more of an impact player. But
I feel like as a player, you have to have the opportunity to play your way into you have to have a pathway into the starting 11. You have to have an opportunity to play yourself in. And you got guys that ain't scoring. Like, what message does that send? It don't matter what goals you score off the bench. Like, you are a bench guy. Like, there has to be a point where we go, do you know what? Like, this geezer's not doing it, and someone else is. Like, no place should be sacred.
Yeah,
like,
no, Dan, you're right. You're right. And I think, and I've been thinking about this. It's a really tricky one in a sense of he's clearly in the team to kind of work hard but make other players tick. But if you take him out and you look at our options, if you want to kind of keep it similar and still have that work ethic and potential goal threat, I can only really see Kante playing in that role. I'm not really keen on the idea of moving Bowen inside, and unless it's like a plan B in game. So maybe having like Kante as a 10 role, just like how he played against Brentford.
He didn't even get to come on yesterday. Another game he hasn't come on, and he's brought on Potson Magassa, and he's not brought on Kante, who's got some energy and actually positive going forward. He's brought on 2 DMs, which I guess he was like, let's rest some players. He's basically thrown in the towel. Like,
yeah, I mean, we don't really know the ins and outs, but yeah, it's a really tricky one. It's a really tricky one because I don't know, man. I don't know. Yesterday was just crazy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, with like the worrying thing is, we've been relying on our wingers to score goals because we can't rely on our attack. We can't rely on Tati and Pablo with the goals going into it. When you're like the thing is with Spurs, right? They got shit to see, but at least they look and go, well, the biggest goal threat is Richarlison, right? They're not relying on Tell, or anything like that. Like, whereas we have to hope that our wingers do it. But the thing is with Bowen, and I'm so frustrated with Bowen because I started to sit there the other day. I was thinking, do you know what? I think I've been too harsh on Bowen because he's got apparently the second most goal involvements in the league, right? Which was a shock to me because it feels like he's been poor this season. But he's had these games where he's just seemingly gone missing, like, and that yesterday, I think, was a poor game from Bowen, and we can't afford him to have poor games anymore. Like, he can't.
Yeah.
He has to be our best player.
The thing is, Dan, and again, this leads back to the manager, right? You see the value of Bowen against Everton, right? The fact that he come up with the 2 assists, and he didn't have the best game against Everton, let's be honest, but still got the 2 assists, right? This is how important he is. For me, this is where Nuno falls flat. Against Palace, Bowen had 2 players on him the whole time. He didn't have the beating of, I think it was Mitchell, and then the left-sided centre-half, when he did get past Mitchell, was there to sort it out. That is something as a manager you need to isolate going, same as when you've got a fullback that's being roasted by a winger, you change the fullback. Or you adjust the tactics to assist the fullback and neutralise the threat. Now, Nuno didn't do that. We said last week that he had the potential to bring Chiore on and push Bowen inside. He could have swapped Somerville because Somerville was having loads of joy, and given Somerville will go up. And it gives the defence then something to think about. This is what Nuno doesn't do. So again, with Bowen, when he's not on it, like I said, he can still. He's one of them players that can make something happen out of nothing. But sometimes you need a help. You need a helping hand. You need your gaffer to look at the way the game's going and make changes within the game. Little tweaks here and there. Nuno doesn't do that, And this is the thing. Bowen's been a bit inconsistent of late, but there's a lot of pressure on him more than other players because he is the captain and he is our talent. And he's the man.
He has to rise to it.
Yeah, exactly. But you can't always rise to it. You can't keep doing it. You know, we've seen before.
But now, we need him now. Like right now, it's like it's just people are saying he wants that. Do you buy this thing
every week? Go on.
The thing is, if he's injured, right? Because there's a few people said, "Oh, he's playing with an injury." If players are playing with injury, I can only judge on what I know and what I see. So you could excuse any player, right? I could not criticize Pablo. I think Pablo might be playing with an injury. That's why he's so shit. Or I can just see him play shit and go, he's shit. Until I don't know about you guys, but until I hear that Bowen's playing with an injury, I'm gonna criticize him as a fully fit player. And because that's the information I have. I can't, otherwise you just won't be able to say any player's playing shit because you just assume everyone's playing with an injury.
I can't see how he's playing with an injury, to be honest. If he's not the type of player. Look, we had a Bonner all them years ago who played with a dodgy knee, and then as soon as we knew we were all right, he went and had his operation done. I don't think Bowen, with the impact that he has on the team, a half-fit Bowen is no good to us. You'd rather see him drop out for a couple of weeks and give the likes of Chiore or shuffle the pack a bit and change the system a bit, going into key important games. Playing an unfit Bowen doesn't benefit us. So I can't see it personally. Look, I ain't saying it's not possible, but I can't see it.
No, and it's Scott's right. I mean, there is a possibility he could be carrying, but the other thing to take into consideration as well is he is playing in a slightly different position. He's slightly deeper than he would be if we're playing with a 4-2-3-1, and he would be sort of a little bit more higher up and tucked in a little bit. So then when he gets that ball, he'll look to cut inside on his left foot. He's playing a little bit more wider because we're playing that 4-4-2. So he's not looking to beat that man. I think as well, he's lost a bit of pace as well.
Does it excuse him though, Brian? Running the ball out of play, running the ball into a defensive player and basically just giving the ball away every time each chance he gets. Does that excuse that?
Absolutely not. But I think this is something he's always done. You can go back years. If you watch videos from years ago, you'd see me and Scott would say about Bowen losing the ball. Do you know what I mean? So I always feel he's had that in his game, but I just think the responsibility of the captainship, I think the season being poor as it is, I just think for the level of expectation, for the standards he has set for us over the years, we as fans expect him to meet that. And where he's not meeting that, he's still getting the numbers, which doesn't excuse anything, but it just shows how valuable he is with what we have. And it goes back again to the bigger picture, which is bigger than Nuno, is the squad. The squad depth and quality is what's killed us for the last 2 seasons, because we've got decent players that can get you an 11, but anything beyond that is terrible. You got to remember, for this season, we practically didn't play for 21 games, and it's only been really since January where we woke up. Do you know what I mean? And as bad as Spurs have been, it just goes to show we've also equally been terrible. Because one thing we've all said here is whoever goes down deserves it. We've said that, whether it's us or Spurs. So, you know, that's one thing. And I just think we've rode that wave of hope, because it has been hopeful. It's been optimistic based on form for this turn of the year. Do you know what? I haven't thrown in the towel. I've not thrown in the towel. There's twists and turns in this, and you know, it's so West Ham to go and lose to Brentford and beat Arsenal.
We'll have a look at that in a sec. Let me read this super chat. £5 from Living 90 Proof. Bowen has played in 2 FA Cup games that have gone to penalties. He's always playing 90 minutes, in my opinion. He needs resting, but it's too late. There's been games where we've said before, like, drop Bowen for this one. Like where he was really having on a poor run, and we was like, yeah, just put him on the bench for this one. And he never did. He just played at every game. And Jamie says
we've been
predictable. Yeah, go on, mate. I was just, he just says, and I'm just adding on that, so then you better comment, because he's just adding on the Bowen is predictable, constantly losing the ball, which I have to agree.
There is times when he is predictable, but he is a good player. And there's been games when we've been winning, when we sat there and said at the end of the game, why is Bowen still on the pitch at 90 minutes? We're winning. He doesn't need to be there. Again, you've signed someone who you're after as a manager that you've been trying to get for ages, and you could rest Bowen. This it is an issue. He's played a lot of football, and like Brian said, we expect the top-notch Bowen week in, week out, and it's been a tough season, and he has carried us on his shoulders a lot this season. And now it's not, it's coming back, and like you said, it does fall foul of the squad. You look at Spurs, with the injuries that they've got so many injuries. For me, and I thought this when Romero got injured, some of their injuries have been a bit of a blessing because they've got players in who have come in with a point to prove and who have got a bit of fight about them. The Solanke injury, Richarlison coming in, you've got someone who's up top, who grafts, who works, who causes problems. In a way, their injury crisis, if they do stay up, will probably be the reason why they've stayed up, because they've got players who have come in and shown a bit more fight than some of the prima donnas that they had.
Yeah, and the thing is, in today's, thanks for another super chat. Like I said, we just can't. Well, I'm not going to assume injury on any player. There has been a lot of talk about the goalkeeping situation. People thought that Areola should come back. I think Hermansen had a shocking game yesterday. There was one time where he come running out. How they've missed? He basically gave him an open goal and they missed. Like he looked like the Hermansen that we saw under Graham Potter yesterday. Really poor performance from him.
I think, look, my opinion on that is, now I actually like both goalies. I like Areola. I think Areola is a good goalie, a good shot stopper. Hermansen is definitely better at distribution. And we actually been decent at playing out from the back. Now I hate playing out from the back, but we actually look decent. And I think he's contributed to that massively. What you got to look at it from a tactical point of view as well. With Areola, whenever he gets the ball, he looks to distribute long or mid-range, and what that does, if it doesn't beat the press, the turnover of opposition puts us in a position where we're just lose the ball and then we're defending again, and that used to contribute to a lot of our attacks that we would then eventually concede goals with. And I think that has cleared up. I think Areola is definitely the better goalie when it comes to shot stopping and coming for crosses, and some of that's based on height and agility as well. But I think Hermansen being in the team has improved the possession that we play at the back, and also the overall performances of the standard of the performances of our centre backs. I think it's contributed to that. To then change it at this late in the day would just be ridiculous. It would be suicidal. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think personally that makes any sense. There's a lot of let's talk about the Nuno thing, man, because there's a lot of people in the comments coming for Nuno.
Let me read these super chats real quick,
and
then I'll hand the baton back to you, Brian. I'll just get through the super chats real quick. Good side. Lee says £42 super chat. Oh, a good side. Nicky didn't think so. Man, we need him to be a fucking good side next week. I tell you that for free, mate. Bloody hell. I tell you what, they'll be a lot more professional and have a lot more dignity and self-respect than Villa did tonight next week. I tell you that for free. Pathetic side. $4.99 super chat, Mandan. I've never seen a team play as bad. Unai Emery uninterested on the sidelines too. Call me an idiot all you like. Corruption does exist in football. It does exist. I'm not saying 100%.
Yeah,
I'm not saying 100% they lost on purpose or whatever's happening, right? But I will just say that most embarrassing performance I've ever seen from a home side, and we've been smashed at home. I've never seen us that bad. When was the last time you saw Bowen sprint? Bowen's just he's just slow. He's not got the pace. He does run, but he gets beat. So sorry, Brian, you wanted to talk about the Nuno situation.
Yeah, look, you've got to take the rough with the smooth as far as I'm concerned. Now, I think all of us have spoken at some point about our thoughts on Nuno. It's very easy to come for Nuno when it comes to sort of when things ain't going right. But we also got to highlight the things that he has had a big say in and changed in terms of the performances of people like Mavropanos, getting in Disasi, stabilising the defence, stabilising conceding from corners, all of that kind of stuff. Like we kind of have to like on one hand say like, yeah, well done. I think all the things that we can criticize and openly criticize has been some of the in-game management decisions, which has cost us points across the season. But I think it's just too easy to say that, oh, because of Nuno or because of Tati and Pablo, we're
22
this,
points
that.
not from winning positions, Brian. 20 under Nuno, 22 points.
Yeah, but when you can go, but the thing to do for me anyway, the thing to do is go game by game and unpick how, what, why that went wrong. So for the matter of fact is, with yesterday, there are things that Nuno perhaps could have done that could have impacted the game in the second half. In the first half,
You
it
accept
was
the
one
Leeds
of,
and Brentford. We can start there. Leeds and Brentford games, right? You accept he's virtually thrown those games with the lineups, right? He's given us no
yeah. So
chance.
he just got
Andy
in there
Irvine.
though. No, but he
Yeah, but
look.
mate, Andy, there's no one that can look at those players, right? You look at Brentford was the first one, right? He's put in that, and we let him go, right? We said, all right, fucking hell, what is this lineup? But it's his first game. He's chopping and changing. Guess what he done? Leeds. He played them again.
Yeah.
And so why? Like, there's no excuse in that. There's no excuse in
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I'm not even going to go back that far because it don't make a difference.
But
It
if
don't
you want
make
to
a
go game
difference.
by game, because then you go to
Yeah,
Brentford and Wilson was on fire and caused them, and he starts taking players off, and we go into our shells and we try and defend and we lose. We lose 2 points.
yeah. No, as I said, like the things that he can be criticised for is some of the in-game management stuff. I think the Leeds one, and he just got here. I don't know what he saw in training that made him think he could then play inverted fullbacks and all that kind of stuff. But
On
he
the
obviously
wrong
wanted to try
opposite
something.
side.
Yeah, exactly. He wanted to try something different.
Goes
And
right
this
back
ain't me
twice.
sticking exactly. And this ain't me sticking up for him. But I just think like, there's a lot more that is there's a lot more to it when it comes to sort of like the team and tactical stuff. But I honestly feel it always falls back to the squad, which is garbage. Our B string players are not good enough. Basically, we stumbled on a system that has work, or it gets a tune out of some of our players. But if you take anyone out of that first starting 11 and try to change it, it's not quite the same. Do you know what I mean? It's not quite the same, and that for me is the problem. You can throw anyone in there. It's not as easy as, oh, we're just going to throw Traore in there or whatever. Remember, these players ain't got no tactical nous. Do you see what I mean? And we saw that for the third goal. We saw the vulnerability on the left hand side where it was just wide open. And this is what I'm saying. You can roll the dice, but you roll the dice when you've got nothing to lose because there's however much time left and nothing's working. But if you let the handbrake off, like, straight away or in the first half, there's fine lines between like a 1-0 beating and a 5-0 beating. Do you know what I mean? There's very fine lines in being on the receiving end of that.
Damage was done with Potter, says Jamie. Cheers, mate. Scott, what are your thoughts on this Nuno situation?
Now, I see where Brian's coming from with what he's saying. It's the difficult thing for me is that I was Nuno out within 3 or 4 games, and I do see improvements. And as I said, for me, the improvements come with a new guy coming into the back room, and Paquetá went out the door. The squad, the atmosphere around the squad completely changed. But I think overall, if we do go down, we know where the buck stops at the top. We know that the poor recruitment, the changing and chopping and changing, not getting the right managers in that thing. But I feel now, because of the amount of points we've lost and the in-game management that we see, if we do go down, it's on Nuno. Nuno's brought in the players that he brought in. Okay, they have benefited the side in the way we play and how high we can press. But ultimately, it is poor in-game management that has left us where we are. Because, there's no, like you said, giving Brentford, fine. He goes and does it against Leeds. It's inexcusable. Bournemouth, Chelsea, 2 games off the top of my head where we're leading 2-0 that we just completely and utterly threw away. And I've said that he was doing things to improve my faith in him, but I've never been fully behind Nuno, and I'm still not fully behind Nuno because I don't think he's the right person. But we're too late in the day to worry about that. We'll look back at that at the end of the season, and if we do go down, you can make excuses that it was part of how bad we were. We can sit there and make excuses because of the poor recruitment by Sullivan and that. But at the end of the day, he's been here for over half a season, and we're still in the same position that we were in when he took over. We just play.
Yeah, he coming in September.
Yeah,
he coming in September, I think it was, wasn't it? Like we sacked Potter. Was it September?
And that's what I think. I've seen comments people saying turning on Nuno. I'm not turning on Nuno. I never turned round from turning on Nuno at the start. So I'm still, I'm still putting my head above the parapet and calling it.
Yeah. The thing is with me, I've been Nuno. It don't sound like it sounds like I'm completely anti Nuno, but I've been sort of Nuno on the fence in a way. Like, I like as a person, like who he is. I like him as a person, right? I don't know him. I didn't know any of him, but to me, how he comes across, I like him, right?
Mm-hmm.
I like there's certain things he's done, like Brian said, I can give him credit for the things that he's done with certain players and improved certain players, particularly in defense. There is that, but some of these games, like to be the manager in charge of from September, it's not like he's picked us up 2 months ago and tried to make the most out of it. Yes, he has the squad to work with that he's got, but when you've got those games that we had and the decisions that he has made has affected the outcome in a negative way, he has to take that criticism. You've got the players that you've got. Like when he joined the club and took it over, he knew the squad. He knew what he was coming into, right? And I look at the starting 11 that we've got, and I think it's better than where we are. I think when you look at the players, right? Not squad. Yes, squad, you could say we're weaker. Some players have actually gone backwards under Nuno, right? They actually started to show progress and promise under Potter. Like Freddie Potts, right? We was all talking about him as the next one under Potter. And maybe we jumped the gun on Potts. But if we remember Potts, when he come in, we was all looking at Potts as like he was not the next Rice, but the next academy player to be a regular in the team. We looked at Magassa and we saw, okay, Magassa was raw, but we saw the promise in Magassa. He showed some promise. There was players that we had there that have sort of regressed, but he has improved some players. But he has what he has. And I think there's players there. There's enough there that a good manager, a braver manager, that's the problem with me. He's not brave enough. That Palace game is a perfect example of it. He's played for the point there, and that point is we could potentially send us down. Chat to J Dog, £5 super chat. Sorry, so I'll let you come in a second. Leeds fan wanted West Ham safe, but Spurs, in my opinion, will undeservedly get out of it. Don't bank on us to win 2 away wins all season. We might draw at Spurs at best. Yeah, right. We just fucked ourselves.
That's the thing now. We're relying.
I know you're saying it's not over, Brian, right?
Yeah.
And you are right. Like, and I know it. A lot of people feel like, and it does feel like it's over. You are technically right. How do you feel though, right? Because we can say it's not over, but in your heart of hearts, can you see us staying up?
You got to say right now, Spurs are nailed on favourites to stay up. And a bit like what Ryan said, I kind of looked at this week as the turning point. And I think it's one of those ones you've got to judge the game weeks week by week now. And even due to the fact that we play first in every game week other than the last. So that's another factor, a bit like the Arsenal Man City thing. And you rather have the points on the board because the pressure can do stuff. So I just feel like we're looking at a 1 point difference, like a scrap goal difference for a second, 1 point difference. I don't feel I feel there's going to be more points dropped. Do you know what I mean? Either end. So it's just how it plays out. And I think if we throw in the town now, we could be looking at a situation where at the end of the season, we've like gone down on the same points, or do you know what I mean? So I
If
just
we
think
lose
there's
next week and Spurs win, will you concede? Would you say it's done?
oh
4 points.
oh yeah. I mean, when you're looking at 4 point stretches with 2 games to go, then the reality is, yeah, that would be, you're looking at miracles again. Again, not impossible, but I just think, as I said, week to week, it's a shame how the game weeks have sort of. Our advantage for me was the Palace game. That was sort of like the advantage game, where if we gain anything from that, brilliant, puts a lot of pressure on them. It meant that we would be able to afford to have one blip. Do you see what I mean? But what we've done now, we've had 2 blips, and then they've gained one. So it's just reversed it. And I think, and now they're at the thing where they've got Villa at the way, where we still got Arsenal. But as I said, the Arsenal game is one of those ones where even if you asked me weeks ago and said, "Oh, could we get something from that game?" I still would have said yeah. And it's just the way how the season's panned out with them, a lot riding on the game for both teams, and they're going to go into it a little bit edgy, and a team coming at us could actually play into our advantage. So we'll have to see, man. Yeah, I'm definitely not giving up hope, man. Pure rally cries each week.
Exactly. We're now, we've got 3 cup finals and we're preying on other teams to do the business for us.
Yeah.
And this
and
is
we play before Spurs. Sorry, Scott, just come back in. So I'll just say Spurs play Monday, we play Sunday. Go on, Scott.
And this is the thing now, and what we also need is we need Forest to get dragged back into it. Because they're 3 points clear. They've got a big semi-final. They play tomorrow night against Chelsea. Chelsea seem to have turned the corner a little bit since they got rid of that useless manager that they had. And, this is the thing. They're not out of it. Their eyes are going to be fully on that game on Thursday night. So Chelsea could take advantage. Then Chelsea have also got to play Spurs. Leeds is a tricky one. I see the Leeds fan in the comments, that they've only won 2 away games all season, and they've got to play us and Spurs.
They've got a big say on this.
Yeah, and this is the thing. We're in that position where we need other people to do us favours, and it's not good being in that position. Arsenal. I'm not confident with Arsenal. They've trounced us the last 2 home fixtures. We've the times we've turned them over has been at their place. What was it, 5-2 and 6-0 the last 2 games we played them at home. But we know that Arsenal do have these moments where they do bottle it and do choke. But I thought they dispatched Fulham okay. And this is the worry. City go on and win tomorrow night. They know they need to beat us. It's. I don't know. I'm not confident we're going to get out of it now. This is the thing. But we are, like Brian said, this is West Ham. We could easily lose 3-0 to Brentford and go and beat Arsenal. We've done it before. We can do it again.
We need to. And Carl makes a point is, with the goal difference, we are essentially 4 points behind Forest and 2 points. But Brian mentioned it earlier with 2 points. That is the thing. The goal difference that we were starting to improve. If Villa Forest can go and lose their next 3, do you know what I mean? And we lose 2 and win 1, and we go on equal points with them. But we have to get more. Yeah. That's the problem.
This is again in a way where it comes when we were comfortable against Wolves and we took our foot off the pedal.
Yeah.
Instead of going for it and thinking, hang on a minute, they were poor. Wolves were poor. And there was more goals to be got in that game. And we took our foot off the pedal. And, we could have easily run off 5-0 winners in that and made up a bit of goal difference. All right, it wouldn't have mattered massively in the overall scheme of things, especially considering we conceded 3 yesterday. But this is the mentality of the manager we got. The 3 points were there. Wolves were never going to score 3 goals. We just got to keep doing what we do. And this is where we regress and try and be defensive, and it doesn't work. And, this is where we'll fall foul come the end of the season.
Yeah. Shout out to Andy 499 Super Chat. No idea what that was from Villa. Never seen anything like it. I run more than they did today, and I'm in a wheelchair. Shout out to Andy.
Yeah.
2 wins and pray, unfortunately. Spot on. Cheers, mate. I said this. I said Dagenham and Redbridge would have beat Villa today. You could get an 11 of me, Nicky, Scott, Graham, Brian. Like, you could get us all right with our fucking bad knees and all the ailments we've got. We would have beat Aston Villa today. Like, no, I've like Andy said, I've never seen the like of it. If you honestly, it's so hard to try and explain it to you guys if you didn't watch the game. Like, if you didn't watch the game, I cannot impress upon you.
I saw 20 minutes of it, mate, and turned it off. That is honestly, it was men against boys. That's what it was today. Men against boys.
But it was just like they just did nothing. There was no effort, zero effort at all, and that's the killer. But like I said, we need to put ourselves in a situation where we're not crying about refs. We're not crying about what other teams do. We put it in our hands. Now it's out of our hands, right? Technically, but if we win every game now, our remaining 3, I think technically I don't see Spurs winning their last 3 games, right? So we need to just try and win every game. Ultimately, you know, we can talk about Nuno, but it's always going to come back to Sullivan. And look, if we do go down, let's hope that's the final nail in his coffin. We do have to get him out. Whatever happens, it does come back to. I mean, the fact that Karen Brady done a runner before the end of the season when she's the one that hired Graham Potter. She pushed for Graham Potter, who's been one of the biggest detriments to this club. Says it all. And she ran off and made a little done a little write up and had the club do a little write up like she was successful when she's played a big part in us getting relegated potentially, because that is something that she wanted out of nepotism. That was pure nepotism. Oh, I'm friends with his wife. So yeah, that's what I've got to say on that. Sickner, guys. I'm gutted and emotional, and that's, like I said, start of this show. I listen. My head was gone. My head was gone. Like I said, I don't know whether what we saw today was match fixing corruption. I don't know. Right. All I know is that was the worst performance I've ever seen from a Premier League side ever.
The thing is, right? The thing is, you read the same thing that I read, where people were turning around and saying in high up positions, it wouldn't be good for the Premier League for Spurs to go down.
Right?
Yeah. This is the thing. I'm not a tinfoil hat brigade or anything like that, right? And I don't think Villa would deliberately throw a game to keep Spurs in the Premier League. But as I said, there's no smoke without fire in these sort of things. Yeah. And some of these VAR decisions that have gone against us, you know, you could look at it that way.
I just think it wouldn't hurt to do a little investigation into some of them players, because Paqueta had a 2-year investigation on him for a few tackles and yellow cards, right? Let's do a little investigation. That's all I'm saying. Look, if you don't find anything, I just want to know that there's due process being done, right? Just investigate the players, get their phones off them, check their bank accounts. I'm just saying, it don't hurt to look. I'm not saying they've done nothing. I just want a process, okay?
Yeah.
So I just need West Ham. So Arsenal next.
Man, there's a lot. As you can imagine, there are a lot of certain fans from a certain team coming in the chat today, man. So just keep the receipts. Just keep the receipts, man. And Dan, I know obviously with things like 12th man and stuff like that, things like Deji and Tobes will be coming for you, but just keep the receipts, man. Keep the receipts, and then we'll see what will be
sweeter if we stay up. Like, it's sweeter when you do things. We always do things the hard way, right? But it will be sweeter. It looks like it's going to go down to the last game of the season. It does, I think, which we don't want. And it looks like we're going to need Moisey to do us a favour.
Someone posted a stat, right? In the last 20 games, Everton only beaten Tottenham 5 times.
Fuck's sake. Thing is, they might need that to get European.
Come on, Moisey.
Yeah, I tell you what, if he fucking sends Spurs down, I will rate a petition for the statue. Get the statue. I will start the petition for the statue, and I will campaign to get Sir David Moyes a statue, right? If he sends Tottenham down. And I will fucking apologize. I will say I was right. I will fucking bend over backwards for that man. I will be the biggest Moyes fan. But we've got Arsenal. God help us. If ever we needed a shock win, it was next Saturday. Come on, Leeds. Don't embarrass yourselves like Villa did. Do it. Cement it. Because the thing is, if Spurs beat Leeds, they're 3 points behind Leeds. You know, so Leeds, that if they win next week, then they've shored it up. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
So,
I think Leeds are cool. The only one you could potentially bring in is Forest, and even then it's clutching at straws. It's only because, as Scott said, they're fixtures. I think Leeds and Forest are good. They're nice, but again, you never know. If both us and Spurs like won all of our games, let's just say, for example, then it's dragging those guys right in.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, so it hurts. I'm gutted, but 3 games left. God help us. This is going to be horrible. Strap yourselves in, guys. It's going to be sick now. Let's just pray and hope and all of that stuff.
Hey, at least we don't have to put up with VAR next season if we do go down. There is some bonuses for it.
Yeah,
we get
of
different
course.
teams and no VAR.
Of course. Oh, Scott, you're going to love it in that stadium, mate, next season. And the championship when it's half empty.
That'd be all right.
And you can hear a pin drop because we've got fucking Lincoln at home. Olay, Lincoln at home, and we're fucking 1-0 down to Lincoln at home. You're gonna love it.
I was having this conversation driving to work this morning, and like if we do go down, I just hope we bounce straight back up. But I know West Ham, and we're gonna struggle to come back up. We will scrape the playoffs, I think, if we come back up. We are not winning anything.
No, we don't win. We never win it down there. We never win the second division, do we?
No.
So yeah, listen, check out OK Jerseys, everyone. As you can see, get your feeler, get your ponies, get some retro shirts. Listen, there's Leeds fans in the chat. We've got Forest fans, even Spurs fans. Go get your retro shirts for your club or the new ones. Go get them. Internationals. We've got international football coming up. You've got England and Germany, all the World Cup teams. You've got a lot of teams, so go check that out. This one was made by OK Jerseys, but it's exclusive to E13 events, so you can go contact them on social media and pick yourself up one of these Adidas beauties. God, I wish we had Adidas again, but New Balance next year. Let's see what they do. So listen, bad weekend for West Ham. We go again. Thank you all for watching. One thing left to say. Come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons.